How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Team Angie. I'm Team Aaron Glenn, private personal consultant. Also, advocate for mental health awareness as well. And on my channel, on my page, I like to put out positivity. I'm all about energy and vibes. And by doing so, I put out a positive message for the day, each day of the month, each month of the year, written by Sarah Young from a book called Enjoying Peace in His Presence, Jesus Calling. And this is a positive word for today of January the 30th, 2026. Worship me only becomes your God. Worries, if indulged, develop into idols. Anxiety gains a life of its own, practically infesting your mind. Break free from this bondage by affirming your trust in me and refreshing yourself in my presence. What goes on in your mind is invisible, undetectable to other people, but I read your thoughts continuously, searching for evidence of trust in me. I rejoice when your mind turns towards me. Guard your thoughts diligently. Good thoughts, choices will keep you close to me. Inspired by the book of Psalms, chapter 112, verse 7. And also, last but not least, this word was inspired by the book of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 11. These are inspirational messages and passages of the Bible meant to inspire and encourage you all in your walk of faith as you bear your cross daily. And this word and encouragement to the readers and the hearers and the doers of this word. So let's get into this message for today, how to make friends. People think blessings are a solo thing. Religion is a solo, gratitude is a solo thing, but no. Just a moment. Let me pull this up. Appreciate all my new subscribers as well. Welcome team members.
Personal Journey Overcoming Anxiety. Anxiety weighing heavy? Lighten the load with our support. This course set me on the path to success. Don't wait. Begin your
Comment ready, of course. All right. If you don't like to read or whatever, whatnot, this not for you, but we finna read this article really quick. I got a lot of new things, reading new things, mainly about mental health and stuff like that. This article you can find on nytimes.com. Hold on real quick. So they want you to sign in. This is one of them type of secured accounts. A lot of articles that I like to read from and web sources. Uh, these are credible sites, fake news and stuff like that. You have to pay for most of these websites as well. Like this one, they want you to pay. But we're gonna do this really quick. New York Times, Style Magazine, and also the Motley Fool, they want you to pay for that as well, but having the latest news and stuff about markets. How to make friends as an adult. A practical guide for expanding your circle with advice from sociable people. Look at all these friendly people. But look at the lady at the top with the pink hair. She just made a friend. Sometimes it's kind of hard, right? This was written by Laura Regensdorf. Laura Regensdorf lives in Brooklyn with her hound mix, Pina, who has turned out to be. This was written January 29th, 2026. yesterday. Somewhere along the way, whether because of a lack of time or rusty social skills, adults tend to lose the friends making powers they enjoyed as children. This seems to be especially true now, as the so called loneliness epidemic wages on the American Perspective survey, conducted by a nonprofit research organization based in Washington, D.C., found that just 13% of respondents reported having 10 or more close friends in 2021, compared with 33% in 1990. We know also that whatever the cause of the drop off, there are plenty of good reasons to make an effort, and that chatbots make poor substitutes. As a long running Harvard study links robust relationships to overall health, outcomes, and happiness. This might be because friends don't just offer support, they invite possibility. And if you don't know about Robobus, this is about like chat friends and, digital companions. They invite possibility, real people, real friends. Any new person who comes into your life, you're going to go on another journey, says Yasmin Swell, 50 years old, the London based founder of the fragrance brand Viro, who's known to gather community wherever she goes. And unlike romantic prospects, friends help you stay grounded, says the Berlin based Tino Segal, who's 50 as well, whose performance pieces often explore modes of interpersonal connection, as with This Progress 2006, which draws visitors into conversation. Friendships don't function in a modality of intensity, of spectacle, or the dopamine rush. He says, yet the question remains how to make them. Below, ideas from Sewell Segal and 5 other creative and sociable individuals on seeking out interesting acquaintance and then bringing them into the fold. A mouthful. But these are people who's given a credible source. Tune into intuition. When you encounter someone you never met before but feel like you know them all your life, you need to act on it, says Swell. She looks for an instant feeling of trust, which is rare. The New York based photographer and artist Joshua Woods, 39-year-old, a friendly face to many on the fashion and cultural circuits, is on the lookout for people whose overall tastes align with his own. It's how someone lives their life and the things they're engaged with. He says like a shared interest in a certain writer, Aminatou Sow, 40-year-old, the interviewer and the co-author of the 2020 book Big Friendship, How We Keep Each Other Close, who lives in Brooklyn, also agrees. When joining a new group, a running club, for example, pay attention to those who like-minded people are and what you want to know about them. Even in professional contexts where there are power dynamics to contend with, it helps to develop a sensitivity for who sees you as human, says Segal. Nothing that those people often make for good friendship material. Noting that those people often make for good friendship material. Touch is something that I don't really do, but it's something that's important. Staying in touch. Usually, if I connect with someone by the end of the conversation, there are 10 bullet points of things to follow up about, says the Brooklyn based writer and chef Julia Sherman, 42-year-old. An article link, a bakery recommendation, the name of a play, circling back shows you were listening. And if you don't already have the person's contact information, you have an easy script. It'll be like, well, I'll be like, what's your number? I'll send you all that stuff, says Sherman, the Los Angeles based musician. Lucy Dacus, 30-year-old, who teamed up with friends for the supergroup Boy Genius, and on a recent solo tour officiated 154 marriages. That's a lot of people to counsel. Usually volunteers her own number and put it into the other person's phone and then calling herself. Then it's really up to either one of who hit the other up, she says, and why not take the initiative? Come up and introduced herself at an event. Be cringe, she says. You can be cool, or you can have people in your life who love you. Pick one. You want to be cool. You want to have people in your life that love you. Keep the momentum going. The green shoots of friendship need tending. Doctors appreciation out of the blue mean. I'll be like, oh my gosh, in a happy moment, you thought of me. A new friend of hers has lately been cold FaceTiming her in short. Very delightful. Burst as a way of checking. Keep a log of their latest interactions with friends to make sure that too much time doesn't elapse between catch ups. I have a friend who has a spreadsheet for that. For me personally, I like to go through my messages and see who I haven't spoke to in a while, or I like to see who's online. Not all the time, but sometimes, time to time, or if somebody on my mind, I like to shoot them a little message or something, or like something, just to let them know, like, yo, I'm checking you out. I haven't forgotten about you type situation. So, a list of names, each with a date and a few memorable details from the last meetup. When you know you'll be unavailable for a stretch, follow the lead of the New York-based fashion designer Jackson Widerhill. I don't know where these people from with these type of last names, but no disrespect if I don't pronounce it right. I'm not used to seeing no type of names like this. Who has a wide and prosperous network that spans creative disciplines and pencil in a future plan. Ain't out then. He says, I'm going to be the worst company because my head's not in the game. You have to be punctual and present. Expand your orbit. Sherman, who's helming the forthcoming restaurant at the new museum in Manhattan, finds it refreshing to look beyond the art of food worlds. At her daughter's school, I'm on the garden committee and I Red's mom. She says there is zero social clout, which means she can get to know people on her own terms. Some of his exhibitions. We're on different generations and very different in style and demeanor, he says, but her insights make for fruitful discussions. This past September, for the Dutch premiere of his work, this UEU, the artist insisted she come to the opening dinner with the museum directors. Woods recently took one of his photographic subjects and octogenarian show to a show. I love the elders because they'll tell you the things most young people would not. He says, plus life experiences don't always align based on age. All of my friends are in the trenches of having children right now. Say so, who's single and doesn't have kids without a crew of younger and older people. My life will not be as expensive as it is. Let me go and add something to this too because experiences in life are pretty good. And as far as where was that at? Okay. Life experiences don't always align based on age. I remember a time, and I'm not going to be long with this story. Recap. Um, I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the bus, waiting to get on the bus. Jewish lady or something like that. I'm not sure. She something like that. But we sat and chat for a bit. Yo, what up, Timothy Pergut? What up, Tristan? Peace and blessings. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. So me and this old lady was chatting for a bit, and come to find out, she done way more things that I ever could have imagined. Her life experience as we chat, she was just sharing a few things that she'd done, a few of her experiences. And by looking at people, you never know who you're talking to. You never know who you come across. You never know what people have done. And nevertheless, I digress. So she had climbed a few mountains, hiking and jogging. And this lady was pretty old. You would have never thought that she would be doing all these things. And also, she's still very active, was out and about at the time. We were both traveling somewhere. She's like, you come to the crib, kick it with me, whatever. Woo, woo. But I never did. I never did. But just the fact that that moment was impactful in my life, it was like inspiring as well to hear someone tell their stories. She worked at the paper mill, and I was like, wow, you contribute a lot to society. You probably very unappreciated currently doing. She was so happy, but age doesn't make the barrier. You don't want to be equally yoked with people trying to date younger and all of this and that, manipulating the minds of folks. But as far as elevating and growing, that's what I mean. It's possible to be done without judgment. You never know what you'll learn from somebody as well. Great referrals. Hold on. Through Amsterdam recently, Doc has met a new acquaintance on the recommendation of mutual friends. They said no ifs and or buts. You guys are going to connect, she said. They did, and it was an instant match. Make those kind of others for others. Make those kinds of other offers for others. Man, I can't read today. Make those kinds of offers for others. And at in-person gatherings, be a connector. Brag about them a little bit. Say so. A little biographical detail gives people something to hang on to. Finally, rather than be territorial, celebrate when two of your friends hit it off, as Sherman, a frequent conveyor of people, puts it. Whoa. I feel like I'm doing something right in my life. If I'm surrounding myself with all those people and permutations between them, I never heard this permutations. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I gotta look it up really quick. I can't skip past this like I know what it means. So permutations would typically be used in that context, meaning in a social connection. Okay, social connection. Up in a drought of social engagements, it probably means they've been flexing the muscle of inviting people. Say so. When Woods was living part time in Paris, a city whose social circles can be tight knit, he took to throwing house parties. It opened me up to the city versus me having to go through all these gatekeepers. He says, Sherman likes to host ladies' nights, which particularly during her years in Pasadena, California, would include upward of 40 people. To keep things manageable and not about her work and up and coming chef to cook, which is sharing in the cost. And her living room would become the site of an indoor picnic. If that feels too ambitious, try organizing an afternoon movie outing or dropping a concert link in the group chat. Just make sure it's a specific ask rather than an amorphous bid to hang out sometime. Docket says, hey, do you want to go to this restaurant on Tuesday for dinner? Celebration for herself on zeros and fives recounts how about 5 years ago an attendee brought along a well-known actress, a lovely person. She says, recently, on the eve or another big birthday, so got a mystery text from this friend of a friend. It turned out that read, hi, I heard that you are having another birthday party and would love to swing by and celebrate you and dance. It was fun last time. It's more of an intimate thing. I totally get it. If it's more of an intimate thing, I totally have to see you tonight. The gesture was so classy. So says, I invited myself to 2 parties this year because of it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Don't think BFF or bust. A relationship doesn't have to last a lifetime in order to be worthwhile. People get hung up on forever, says Dawkins. as if potential friends needs to pass a rigorous test because they're never leaving. She points to the one meaningful connection she's made on tour, the itinerant nature or lower bards. Siegel's version of this pertains to a group of people he exercised with on a weekly basis. He couldn't tell you all of their names, but still considers them pals. It's an interesting way of knowing somebody through their movements, he says. And souls of a similar mind, whether a friendship involves daily texts or semi-annual hangouts, she says it's valid intimacy. Deep connections is intimacy, right? Be next level thoughtful after a lunch date. So sometimes snags a restaurant postcard and mails it to the person she ate with as a memento. That's pretty sweet and that's pretty thoughtful. Never done anything like that. I'm gonna have to start. You have to do tiny romantic justice for your friends, she says. Sherman recommends taking a mental inventory around friends' homes for potential gifts. As I, as in, I got you this vegetable peeler. I know you need a package with, say, a favorite tea or a vintage book. Swear recalls how the model of media personality Mia Khalifa, one of two fast friends she tapped to star in her brand's latest campaign, hand delivered a cronut for her 14-year-old son's birthday. That was really sweet. Crocheting is really, really popular nowadays. It's really going back into style. And last but not least, I believe this is it. Team up, my love language, is creating something with someone whose solution to an all consuming work life is to make friends collaborators and collaborators friends, vice versa. I had a friend recently who was between jobs, and I was like, I wish I could hang out, but how about I hire you for a day to come do research for me and then we'll get a drink later? Nice idea to look out for your friend. What a wonderful way to collab. Swell met the actress Lake Bell on a summer trip and heard about her. 7 months later, when looking into commissions cut for the taco service at Viscero pop up in New York, she knew exactly whose energy I wanted to bring into that space, she says. Back in California, Sherman started a local fruit swap after noticing overflow from neighbors' trees. The results was like trick or treating, only with boxes of avocados and guavas. I'm a project addict, and I love other people who love projects, she says. With this one, I met all of the fruit leaks. She met all the fruit freaks with that one. This is a way to be friendly, sociable. You don't have to be so thoughtful into this stuff. It's just about being a decent human being overall, is what I'm getting from this article. But last, never the least, this last time I'm gonna say something like that, right? Yeah, I think this is it. But you know something, you know something. Don't be acting like you're doing better than somebody that doesn't know. You'll be like, damn, I thought this person know better. Obviously they don't, or obviously they don't care too. And it's either one of the two. With that being said, have a little great patience. Sometimes you gotta ignore people. It's what it is, right? They whatever they allow to use them, let that be that. If you sit there and allow your mind to be used by negative thoughts and you entertain those negative thoughts, that's your choice, right? To each his own. We all have our own free will to do as we please. If you please by focusing on shit that's unhealthy, unsafe, that's your prerogative. But nevertheless, like you don't have to deal with those type of people. I heard people say my friend didn't text me back within the because we shouldn't be giving each other so many opportunities for failure. Of course, you're right to be mindful of your needs and feelings. Certainly do not hold out for somebody who cancels on you all the time. But a lapse or overnight is often not about disrespect or disinterest. They genuinely have things going on. Once you forget to tell a friend about a recent party, it prompted a teasing. Why am I not invited? To a town for it. So they had lunch the following week instead. It was no drama, say so. Sherman does bring up one potential sticking point. Every person I know who natural organizing camp end up wondering about reciprocity. Given for good reasons or just given to be given, right? And if they're giving out too much of themselves at times. How do the frequent hosts somehow get so few invitations in return? Some instances do call for equality, equity. Play dates with small children are destructive forces, she says, in a cleanup. Otherwise, it does not it does no good to tally the dinner parties at yours versus theirs. If you're going to do something because it brings you joy, she says, you cannot be keeping score. And yeah, if you want to know more about specific relationships, like what's your friendship style, how to make friends, the medium friends, friendship or introverts, sibling friendships, etc., and so on. You nytimes.com, just a bit. But thank time with me on this Friday as I get myself together for other things. Just want to put some positive vibes out there for you guys. Spending this winter time lonely, maybe suffering in silence. This is tips and tools on how to be friendly, how to have friends, how to have some companions. Out who sometimes friendships turn into relationships, and sometimes those relationships into marriage. Who knows who's out there for you, waiting for you to be friendly? But yeah, it's time to be a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more courageous, and a little bit more for sure about the life we live. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, it comes a point in time in life where you realize, like, I'm no longer alive, but I'm actually living. And there is a difference. A lot of people go through life, just day by day. You're living with purpose. You're waking up with passion. And you're appreciative more about the life that you have, each everyday present gift. We don't know when our last day will be, but we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the next minute. So that is another reason to be grateful for the life that you have, the life experiences that you want. Or, like I say, you just go up by life, waiting for whatever comes to you for yourself. Peace and blessings from Team Edge. And if you're new to my channel, please